The Pyrenees rise like a fortress, their jagged peaks casting long shadows over a land where time seems to stand still. Nestled between Spain and France, this rugged terrain cradles the Basque country, a place where ancient traditions endure and mysteries of origin linger. Here, in the heart of Europe, lies a people whose language, culture, and genetics defy easy classification. Who are the Basques, and how have they maintained such a distinct identity through the millennia? Tens of thousands of years ago, as glaciers carved through Europe, humans sought refuge in the Franco-Cantabrian region. This area, encompassing parts of modern-day northern Spain and southwestern France, became a sanctuary where life endured against the odds. The Basque homeland, with its moderate Atlantic climate and abundant resources, offered shelter during the harshest periods of the Last Glacial Maximum around 20,000 years ago. While much of northern Europe lay buried under ice, these protected valleys harbored resilient communities of hunter-gatherers. Cave paintings in sites like Altexeri and Ekain, dating between 36,000 and 15,000 years ago, depict bison, horses, and deer, testaments to a people connected deeply to their environment. At Santimamigne Cave near Guernica, ochre handprints and abstract symbols suggest not just artistic expression but possibly the earliest forms of symbolic communication in the region. Archaeological evidence from Ischurets Cave reveals sophisticated bone tools and musical instruments, including flutes carved from vulture wing bones, indicating a rich cultural life even in these ancient times. Recent excavations at Aitspitarte 3 Cave have uncovered distinctive Gravettian stone tools dated to around 27,000 years ago, suggesting specialized hunting techniques adapted to the mountainous terrain. These findings support the theory that the Basque country served as a refugium, a place where both human populations and their cultural practices persisted while dying out elsewhere during climatic extremes. As the Ice Age waned, around 6000 BC, Neolithic farmers arrived, bringing agriculture, animal domestication, and pottery. Unlike much of Europe, where these newcomers largely replaced local hunter-gatherers, the Basque region saw a blending of cultures. Genomic studies from El Portolan Cave near Atapuerca reveal that early Basque populations absorbed agricultural innovations while retaining significant Mesolithic genetic roots. This unique admixture set the Basques apart, preserving a genetic legacy that links them to Europe's earliest inhabitants. The dolmens and stone circles dotting the Basque landscape, such as those at Icomendi, Sorginetics, and the remarkable alignment at Oyenleku, speak to this transitional period. These megalithic structures, requiring considerable collective effort to construct, suggest increasingly complex social organization. Pollen analysis from peat bogs in the region indicates that by 5000 BC, forest clearance for agriculture was well underway, though on a smaller scale than in other parts of Europe. Excavations at Los Husos and Peñularga have yielded some of the earliest pottery in the region, featuring distinctive decorative motifs that would persist in Basque folk art millennia later. The careful placement of funerary offerings at sites like the Araza Dolmen complex suggests belief systems centered around ancestor veneration, practices that would evolve but never fully disappear from Basque spiritual life. What makes Basque DNA truly exceptional is its remarkable continuity and distinctiveness. Genetic studies have shown that modern Basques carry one of the highest proportions of Mesolithic hunter-gatherer ancestry in Europe, far more than their neighbors. This is particularly significant because, across much of the continent, subsequent waves of migration, especially those associated with Indo-European speakers during the Bronze Age, profoundly reshaped the genetic landscape. In contrast, the Basques appear to have absorbed Neolithic farming genes without undergoing the extensive genetic turnover seen elsewhere. Their DNA lacks many of the genetic signatures common in surrounding Iberian populations, such as those introduced by later North African and Middle Eastern migrations. Furthermore, the Basques exhibit a uniquely high frequency of the R1BDF27Y chromosome lineage, passed from father to son, which likely arrived with early Bronze Age populations but became especially concentrated in this region. A 2019 study published in Science analyzed genome-wide data from 271 ancient Iberians and found that while most modern Iberian populations show significant genetic input from North Africa beginning around 2,000 years ago, the Basques stand as a notable exception. Their genetic profile remains remarkably similar to that of Iron Age populations in the same region, suggesting minimal admixture over the past 3 millennia. Blood type distributions further highlight Basque distinctiveness, with the highest rate of Rh-negative factor in the world, a trait so common that it once led to speculative theories about extraterrestrial origins. Modern genetics has dispelled such myths but confirmed that this distribution represents an ancient characteristic preserved through millennia of relative isolation. This genetic insulation, bolstered by the natural barriers of the Pyrenees and a strong cultural identity, has made Basque DNA a living archive of Europe's prehistoric past. For geneticists, the Basques offer a rare window into the continent's ancient demographic history, preserving genetic clues that have been diluted or lost in other populations. The Bronze Age introduced the bell beaker culture and new paternal lineages, yet the Pyrenees acted as a natural barrier, shielding the Basques from the full force of these changes. While neighboring populations underwent significant transformations, the Basques integrated new elements without losing their distinct identity. Bronze artifacts from sites like the Urtiaga cave show sophisticated metallurgical techniques, suggesting the Basques were not isolated from technological innovations. However, the cultural package that typically accompanied these technological shifts, including Indo-European languages and certain burial practices, made less impact here than elsewhere. The distinctive hilltop settlements, castros, that emerged around 1200–800 BC, such as those at Internashigjur and Barunza, reveal a society organized around small, defensible communities rather than the hierarchical chiefdoms emerging elsewhere in Europe. These fortified villages, with their circular stone houses and communal spaces, would remain the predominant settlement pattern through the Iron Age, reflecting a social organization centered around extended family groups rather than powerful elites. Archaeological evidence from sites like Arailar and Santiagomendi indicates that while bronze technology was widely adopted, it supplemented rather than replaced traditional lifeways. Hunting remained important, pastoralism flourished in the highlands, and agriculture was adapted to the varied topography, a diversified subsistence strategy that enhanced resilience against both climatic challenges and external threats. Throughout history, the Basque region witnessed successive waves of external influence, from Romans to Visigoths to Moors. Despite these incursions, genetic studies indicate minimal impact on the Basque gene pool. Their mountainous homeland, cultural isolation, and linguistic independence contributed to this resilience. A 2021 study in Current Biology found little evidence of Roman or Moorish genetic markers in modern Basques compared to neighboring Iberian populations. The Roman writer Strabo described the inhabitants of this region as fierce and independent, referring to them as Vascones. Roman influence in the Basque highlands was always tenuous, while coastal areas and fertile valleys saw Roman settlements like Oyaso, modern Irun, and Pampilo, Pamplona. The mountainous interior remained largely autonomous. Archaeological evidence shows selective adoption of Roman goods and practices. Roman coins and pottery appear in Basque settlements, but traditional funeral rites and social structures continued. The Visigothic period saw the first documented Basque political entity, the Duchy of Vasconia, which maintained significant independence despite nominal fealty to Visigothic kings. When Muslim forces swept across the Iberian Peninsula beginning in 711 AD, the Basque highlands remained largely unconquered, one of the few regions in Western Europe to resist both Roman and Muslim dominance effectively. This pattern of selective engagement with external powers continued through the medieval period. The Kingdom of Navarre emerged as a Basque political entity in the early 9th century and maintained independence until 1512, balancing alliances and rivalries with neighboring Christian kingdoms while preserving distinctive legal traditions in the form of local fueros, charters guaranteeing ancient rights and freedoms. Central to Basque identity is their language, Euskara. As Europe's last surviving pre-Indo-European language, Euskara predates the spread of languages like Spanish and French by thousands of years. Its unique structure and vocabulary have long intrigued linguists. Some theories suggest connections to ancient Iberian languages, supported by findings like a 2nd century BC wine vessel inscribed with oge, identical to the Basque word for 20. While debates continue, Euskara's endurance is undeniable. The language features an ergative absolutive case system rare among European languages, complex verb conjugation that can incorporate subject, direct object, and indirect object into single words, and a vocabulary remarkably free of Latin derivatives for basic concepts. These linguistic features suggest extreme antiquity and long-term isolation from Indo-European influence. The earliest written records of Euskara appear in the Roman era, Aquitanian inscriptions, dedicatory texts containing names and words recognizable to modern Basque speakers. The 11th century Glosses Emilianenses manuscript contains the first complete sentences in Euskara, while the 16th century saw the publication of the first book in the language, Linguae Vasconum Primitiae by Bernard Etexeper, who wrote prophetically, Euskara, go forth into the world. Euskara's survival has not been without challenges. During Franco's dictatorship in Spain, 1939–1975, the language was suppressed, its use in public life banned, and speakers persecuted. Children caught speaking Euskara in schools were punished, and publications in the language were prohibited. Yet, the Basques persisted, preserving their linguistic heritage in private homes and rural settings where enforcement was more difficult. In the late 1960s, efforts to standardize the language led to the creation of Euskara Batua, Unified Basque, facilitating its use in education, media, and administration. Ikastolas, Schools teaching primarily in Euskara emerged first as underground institutions during the Franco era and later as legally recognized educational centers following Spain's transition to democracy. Today, Euskara is spoken by approximately 750,000 people across various dialects, a testament to the community's dedication to their linguistic roots. Modern revival efforts have been remarkably successful. Between 1991 and 2016, the number of fluent speakers in the Spanish Basque country increased by over 200,000 people. Public television and radio broadcasts in Euskara, a thriving literary scene, and mandatory language education in schools have all contributed to this renaissance. Basque mythology further enriches their cultural tapestry. At its center is Mari, the goddess of the mountains, embodying justice and the natural world. Legends speak of her dwelling in caves atop peaks like Anbato, accompanied by her consort Sugar, associated with storms and thunder. Other mythical beings, such as the Gentilak, giant figures believed to have built the region's dolmens, and Lamiak, river nymphs who rewarded or punished humans, reflect a deep connection to the land and its mysteries. The Basque cosmological system differs markedly from Indo-European mythologies. Rather than a hierarchical pantheon ruled by a patriarchal sky god, Basque mythology centers on Amalur, Mother Earth, and maintains elements of animism, the belief that natural features like mountains, springs, and forests possess spirits or consciousness. This belief system survived Christianization longer than in many parts of Europe, with documented offerings to Mari continuing well into the 19th century. Christianity arrived relatively late to the Basque country, particularly in rural areas. The fusion of Christian and pre-Christian elements created distinctive traditions, such as the Itziko Andre, mistress of the house, blessing bread with special crosses before cutting, or the practice of placing iguzcolor, dried thistle flowers, on doors to ward off evil spirits, now often accompanied by Christian symbols. The medieval pilgrimage route to Santiago de Compostela passed through Basque territories, bringing both outside influence and economic opportunity. Romanesque churches like Santa Maria de Unate and the Cathedral of Bayonne incorporated Basque motifs alongside Christian imagery, reflecting the cultural synthesis at work. Witchcraft persecutions swept through the Basque country in the early 17th century, most notably in the French Basque region where Judge Pierre de Lancourt conducted a brutal campaign that killed hundreds. These events, recorded in detail through trial testimonies, provide insight into persisting pagan elements in rural Basque spirituality, though filtered through the persecutors' biased perspective. The Baseri, the traditional Basque farmhouse, stands as an architectural embodiment of Basque cultural values. These sturdy stone structures, often dating back centuries and passed down through generations, typically house extended families working communally. Built to be self-sufficient, they feature space for livestock on the ground floor, living quarters above, and storage for harvests in the attic. The Lorraine, threshing floor, and woodlands belonged to each household, while mountain pastures were communally managed, a system that prevented the feudalism common elsewhere in medieval Europe. The traditional inheritance system of primogeniture, passing the undivided farmstead to a single heir, male or female, preserved farm viability across generations and helped maintain the Basque social fabric. Non-inheriting siblings often remained unmarried, emigrated to the Americas, or joined the Catholic Church, creating extended support networks beyond the immediate family. Maritime traditions form another pillar of Basque cultural identity. By the 8th century, Basque whalers were renowned throughout Europe, and by the 16th century, they had established whaling stations as far away as Newfoundland. Archaeological excavations in Red Bay, Labrador have uncovered the remains of Basque whaling ships and processing facilities dating to the 1540s, demonstrating how far these maritime ventures extended. The distinctive train-era fishing boats, once used for tuna and anchovy fishing and now featured in competitive rowing races, represent another enduring maritime tradition. Basque sports reflect the physical demands of traditional livelihoods. Harry Kirilak, rural sports, include Harajasatsailik, stone lifting, where competitors lift stones weighing up to 300 kilograms, Ikolariak, wood chopping contests, and Sokatira, tug of war. These competitions, still held at local festivals, originated as demonstrations of the strength required for everyday rural tasks like forestry and construction. Perhaps most famous is pelota, a high-speed ball game played against a wall with bare hands or various implements, including the curved zestera basket used in high alai. Archaeological evidence suggests games similar to pelota were played in the region since at least Roman times, making it one of the world's oldest continuous sporting traditions. Basque gastronomy stands among the world's most distinguished culinary traditions. The region's particular geography, straddling mountains and sea, provides exceptional diversity of ingredients that have been refined through centuries of tradition. The Pincho culture of San Sebastián in Bilbao, where bars serve small, often elaborate food portions on bread with toothpicks, represents the accessible face of a cuisine known for meticulous technique and respect for raw materials. Traditional dishes reflect the region's pastoral history. Marmitaco, a tuna and potato stew originally prepared on fishing boats. Toro, a rich seafood soup from the coastal areas. And axoa, a veal or lamb stew with espelette peppers from the interior regions. The tradition of texocos, private gastronomic societies where, traditionally male, members gathered to cook and dine together, has preserved recipes and techniques through generations while serving as important social institutions. The region now boasts one of the highest concentrations of Michelin-starred restaurants in the world. Chefs like Juan Mari Arzak, Pedro Subiana, and Martín Berasategui have gained international acclaim by building upon traditional Basque flavors with innovative techniques. The Basque Culinary Center, founded in 2011, continues this tradition by combining culinary education with research and innovation. The 19th and 20th centuries saw the emergence of Basque nationalism as an organized political movement. Industrialization brought rapid change to the region, particularly Vizcaya, where iron mining and steel production attracted workers from other parts of Spain. In this context of social transformation, Sabino Arana founded the Basque Nationalist Party, PNV, in 1895, articulating a vision of Basque identity rooted in language, culture, and Catholic values. The Spanish Civil War marked a traumatic chapter for Basque communities. The bombing of Guernica by Nazi Germany's Condor Legion, immortalized in Picasso's painting, became an international symbol of the horrors of war. Franco's victory brought severe repression of Basque culture, with public use of Euskara prohibited and expressions of Basque identity criminalized. The militant group ETA, Euskadi ta Askat Asuna, Basque Homeland and Liberty, emerged in 1959 during the darkest years of the Franco dictatorship, initially as a resistance movement before evolving into an armed organization responsible for hundreds of deaths over 4 decades. The group's campaign of violence complicated legitimate aspirations for cultural recognition and self-governance, creating deep divisions within Basque society itself. After declaring several ceasefires, ETA finally announced its complete dissolution in 2018. Spain's transition to democracy following Franco's death in 1975 brought substantial autonomy to the Basque country. The Statute of Guernica, 1979, established the Basque Autonomous Community with its own parliament, police force, and control over education, healthcare, and taxation. This arrangement has allowed for cultural renaissance and economic prosperity, though debates about the region's relationship with Spain continue. The French Basque provinces, Iparralde, have historically enjoyed less political autonomy than their Spanish counterparts but have recently gained greater recognition. In 2017, the French government created the Communauté d'agglomération du Pays Basque, unifying 158 communes under an administrative body with competencies in areas like economic development and cultural promotion. Today, the Basque region balances tradition and modernity. Spanning northern Spain and southwestern France, it boasts vibrant cities like Bilbao and San Sebastián, renowned for their cuisine, art, and innovation. The Guggenheim Museum Bilbao, designed by Frank Gehry and opened in 1997, symbolizes the region's transformation from industrial decline to cultural vitality. This Bilbao effect has inspired urban regeneration worldwide and attracts millions of visitors annually. Economic innovation extends beyond tourism. The Mondragón Corporation, founded in 1956, has grown into the world's largest worker cooperative, employing over 80,000 people across manufacturing, retail, and financial sectors. This cooperative model, rooted in Basque social values, provides an alternative to traditional corporate structures and has proven remarkably resilient during economic downturns. Education remains central to preserving and evolving Basque identity. The Public University of the Basque Country serves over 45,000 students across 3 campuses, while Mondragón University operates on a cooperative model integrated with local industry. Both institutions offer programs in Euskara and Spanish, contributing to the language's normalization in academic and professional contexts. Digital initiatives like the Ahotsak project, which records and archives elderly speakers from various dialects, ensure that linguistic heritage is preserved even as villages empty and urbanization increases. Meanwhile, the Etexaper Basque Institute promotes Basque language and culture internationally, supporting Euskara lectureships at universities worldwide and cultural exchanges with other minority language communities. Young Basques navigate multiple identities, regional, national, and European, while reinterpreting traditions for contemporary contexts. Urban bertsolaritza competitions, where poets improvise verses on given topics following strict metrical rules, draw large audiences and television coverage. Traditional music incorporating trikitixa, accordion, tixistu, flute, and texilaparta, wooden percussion, has fused with rock, electronic, and global influences in groups like Kortatu, Negu Goryak, and Bari Texerik, creating distinctive sounds that carry cultural messages to new generations. Returning to our opening question, who are the Basques, and how have they maintained such a distinct identity through the millennia? They are a people shaped by their geography, history, and unwavering commitment to their heritage. Their story is one of resilience, adaptation, and pride, a testament to the enduring power of cultural identity in an ever-changing world. As Kerman Uribe, one of the most acclaimed contemporary Basque writers, reflects in his novel Bilbao, New York, Bilbao, identity is not something solid and permanent, but rather something that is always being created, a path that constantly forks and offers many possible directions. The Basques have navigated these forks with remarkable consistency, not by rejecting change but by selectively incorporating it while maintaining core cultural values. Their distinctive genetic heritage provides a biological foundation for this continuity, but it is their active cultural choices, preserving their language against overwhelming odds, maintaining distinctive social structures, and adapting traditions to new circumstances, that truly explain their endurance. The mystery that began in the shadow of the Pyrenees finds its answer not in myth alone, but in the stone, the genome, and the enduring voice of a people who have refused to fade. As Europe continues its project of unification and globalization reshapes cultural boundaries worldwide, the Basque experience offers valuable lessons about maintaining diversity within larger systems and preserving cultural uniqueness as a source of strength rather than division.